Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I welcome those who can to rise as we invite our bat mitzvah. Alice, come forward to lead us in the blessing over the Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivonu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Oh, eternal God, light of the world, bless us with a perfect blessing in your presence. May you send your blessing to every home of Israel and the entire world, setting peace and eternal blessing upon all of humanity. Just as we bask in the light of the Shabbat candles, so too may we rejoice in your divine light. And as the world is made brighter by the glow of this flame, so too may the world be illuminated by the light of your Torah and mitzvot. We ask that you guide us with the light of your presence, for in your light we see light, and let us say Amen.
Shukah. You may be seated. We'll continue our service on the top of page 2 with Matovu.
מרעיתו וצאן ידו, היום אם בקולו תשמעו. אשר ניסוני אבותיכם, וחנוני גם ראו פאלה. אשר נשבעתי באפי יבואון אל מנוחתי.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We have some guests from Germany. It's wonderful having you here with us. The Shabbat, of course, Bat Mitzvah family. It's a special month that we find ourselves in right now, specifically because this is a leap year on the Jewish calendar, and so there's a very interesting confluence of multiple things happening right now. Right? We're in the midst of Ramadan. We're 4 or 5 days into Ramadan, depending on if you saw the new moon on Sunday or Monday. We're a week away from Purim, and of course we also have Easter coming up soon as well. It's interesting how, despite the fact that we might have our differences in beliefs and practices, all three of these events are all happening this month because of our calendars being based on, to some degree, on the moon. Right? In fact, even Easter is based on when Passover falls, but because it's a leap year, Easter is not in the month of Nisan. It's in the month of Adar, the Jewish month of Adar. But everything is based on the one moon and its cycles, which in turn should actually remind us that everything is based on the one creator. That would be the common thread throughout the three Abrahamic faiths and other faiths for that matter. It's I think a really beautiful and important reminder for ourselves as we find ourselves in this time of year, especially with everything going on, specifically in the Middle East, to remember that which unites us all, that which brings us all together. And it can be as simple as looking up into the sky and to know that we're all looking at the same moon and counting time in a similar way and realizing if we've got that in common, what else might we share in common? And Shabbat is this chance to be able to pause from the week and not worry about all the busyness that might keep us occupied otherwise. This is a chance to be able to sit back and reflect and to ponder those big questions, to look up at the moon. If there's a break in the clouds on your way home this evening, to look up and think about who else is looking at that same moon and what else might we share in common. So we're going to continue our service in the way that we connect with our Creator. We're on the top of page 4 with Lecha Dodi. When we come to the final stanza, we will rise and turn to the door to greet the Shabbat bride.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad ishmihanu el hameyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad leshem u'letiferet v'letehila. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelecha ki hi mekor haberacha merosh mikeden nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava tehila. קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי הורי, אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה.
Seated.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת. גדלו מעשיך, אדוני, מאוד עמקו מחשבותיך. איש בר לא ידע, וכסיל לא יבין את זאת. לפרוח רשעים כמו עשב, ויציצו כל פועלי האבן. להישם דם עדי יד. הנה אויביך אדוני, כי הנה אויביך יאבדו, התפרדו כל פועלי האבן, ותרם כרם קרני, בלותי בשמן רענן, ותבטני בשורי, בקמים עלי מרעים, כשמנה אוזני. Yavesh Adonai, Ozi Tazar, Aftikon Tevel Baltikot, Nachon Kisacha Mehaz, Meholam Mata, Nasehu Neharot Adonai, Nasehu Neharot Kolam, Nasehu Neharot Dahar, Vikolat Mahim Rabi, Adrim Mishpreya, Ahager Amaro, Adonai. נהנו מאוד לביתך נהבה קודש.
Rise on page 6 for Baruch.
לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהים לעולם. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו חי וקיים. תמיד ימלוך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני. המעריב הרבים. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו בהם ליומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
One of the most central prayers we have in Judaism is the Shema, that doesn't matter what your observance level is or your age. It's usually the first words that somebody would know, or that they would learn, and just, it's so familiar to them. It's a central prayer that's passed from generation to generation. It's one of the first prayers a parent might teach their child. And it's a way to remind us of our connection to all those who came before and all those who will come after. And so it's appropriate that we invite forward our bat mitzvah, Alice, to lead us in the recitation of Shema. And also the fact that you are continuing this tradition, that your great-grandfather, John, right, was a founding member of Belsize. And so you are continuing on this very long family heritage. So Alice, we're going to invite you to come forward. She'll first lead us in, we'll first recite the Kabbalat Mitzvot, accepting upon herself the obligation of the commandments, after which we'll all rise to join Alice in saying the Shema. This is what happens when I don't come to a meeting. I shouldn't have done that. Do we have that kind of? If not, we'll recite it tomorrow anyways. But that's okay. We'll do it tomorrow. So you're not going to accept the commandments by yourself, other than by reciting the Shema. I invite everybody who can to rise and join us on page 8 in the recitation of Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם
Adonai Elohechem
Be
Emes.
seated.
המעביר בניו בין גזרי ים סוף ברכו גבורתו שיבחו והודו לשמו ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליכם משה ובני ישראל הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו עולם מלכותך ראו בניך פה קיים לפני משה זה לי אנו ואמרו ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל. יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה בעלמה דברה חילותה וימליך מלכותה בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמה לקודשה להלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה.
Sound Amidah begins in the middle of page 12. Either we use the Hebrew or English of the Siddur, or you can just close the Siddur itself and use the words of your heart to express gratitude for this gift of Shabbat and for the gift of life.
Shalom, Shalom Bimroma. Shalom, Shalom, Hallelujah, Shalom, Alto, Israel, Immarum, Amen. Vayekul Hashem, V'Hallel, Hallelujah. Remember this.
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu b'shabbat kodesho be'ahava u'beratzon inchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי פעם בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת
Adonai borei mekadesh Hashabbat.
Amen. There you go. Kids, you can all drink. And while we're all standing, guys, some of you didn't want to come up on the bima, but bless you all nonetheless. We say, Yisimchem Elohim Kisara V'Ivka Rachav Laya Kefraim V'Chi Menashe. May God give you the best traits for those who came before us. Yivarechecha Adonai V'Yishmerecha. May God bless all of you kids and keep you nice and safe. Yeah. Adonai Panav Elecha V'Yichunecha. May God smile upon you and be good to you. And Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha V'Yasem Lecha Shalom. May God always be there with you and give you a true sense of peace and wholeness in your lives. And we all say, Amen. You may be seated. Have any of you ever experienced a moment where, looking back on it, you realize just how incredibly profound it was? Right? Maybe even in the moment you realize you were just floored and wowed by what you're experiencing. Maybe even feeling like you may have encountered the divine in that moment. If you think about, if you've been fortunate enough to have such an encounter, if you think back to that moment, what were you doing? Odds are you probably were not in the middle of texting or checking email or just doom scrolling. Odds are you probably were not in the middle of an argument with somebody or complaining about a coworker to somebody else. I would never complain about you, can't you? Right? I can't imagine that you would ever have a profound moment in the midst of negativity or distraction. And I think the parsha this week, the Torah portion, might help us understand why exactly that's the case. Now, before I explain, I think I first have to give a little bit of background about the number 7. I realize it seems a bit of a non sequitur here, but the number 7 in Judaism is pretty important. It represents the 7 days of creation. Of course, therefore, the 7 days of the week. It's the number of times that a bride traditionally encircles the groom. Right? And nowadays, when I officiate weddings, maybe we'll talk about this soon, Hannah. Right? Often we'll have the bride and groom or the two partners encircle one another a total of 7 times. It's a number of times that we wrap the tefillin straps on our arms. 7 represents wholeness or completeness within Judaism. In this week's Torah portion, in Pekudei, which is at the end of the book of Exodus, the number 7 plays an important, if somewhat hidden, role. Now, the Parsha describes how Moses sets up the Mishkan for the traveling temple, the tabernacle, for the very first time, exactly as God commanded him to do. And the Hebrew for this is Kasher Tziva Adonai et Moshe, exactly as God commanded Moses. Now, this phrase, Kasher Tziva Adonai et Moshe, appears exactly 7 times in chapter 39, and again exactly 7 times in chapter 40, so the 2 last chapters of Exodus. In other words, Moses wholly and completely does exactly as God commanded. And then, the miraculous. Once the Mishkan is fully set up, a cloud descends from heaven, and the glory of God, quote, the glory of God, fills the Mishkan. So much so that Moses can't even enter that holy space because it's so filled with God's glory. Instead, he has to stand at the entrance in order to be able to commune with God. Now, I don't think it's accidental that this profound moment for Moses happened just seconds after he wholly and completely fulfilled God's commands, as it was by attuning himself to the divine that he was able to encounter the divine. Which is precisely why, if any of us ever experience a profound moment, it doesn't happen when we're in the midst of an argument. It doesn't happen when we're distracted and doing multiple things at once. It's rather those moments come for us when we are fully present, when we are fully in touch with ourselves, with our surroundings, with God. That's when we bring more holiness into the world through our presence. And this can happen in moments like when we stand in awe of nature's wonders on a beautiful hike, and we can just pause and take in the vista. We're not doing something else. We're not talking. We're just present. It could happen when we are seeing the best in others, helping them to see it in themselves, when we are engaging in meaningful dialogue and communion with others. And sometimes these moments can happen even when we find ourselves just alone in a moment of wholeness and completion at the end of a week, finding ourselves in the 7th day, connecting with divine, connecting with those we love, and reconnecting with ourselves. May this Shabbat help you feel fully present, to be able to connect with what's truly important in your lives. Wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Invite those who can to rise as we turn back in the Siddur in the prayer book to page 22 for Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל ההמונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת נוסו בכבד מרומים, הוא אלוהינו הנות, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות האלה בבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת עינות, על כן נקבלך אדוני אלוהינו. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני מלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר
This Shabbat, we lovingly honor the memories of Barnett Becker, Edith Bear, Max Fischel, Herbert Joseph Friedman, Mark Friedman, Rosa Friedman, Faye Goodman, Harry Kaiser, Robert Levine, Dora Rosenthal, Nathan Spring, Ava Stein, and Harriet Taylor. We also extend our condolences not only to these families, but specifically to the Laser Cohen family, marking the first yard site of your beloved Margaret. We also hold in our hearts all the innocent lives lost on both sides of the border to the conflict this past week. I invite those who have a need or desire to say Kaddish to join me on page 24 in Kaddish Yatom. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala ubizman kariv v'imiru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Muvarach Le'alam Omei Amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitaleh V'yithalal Shmei D'Kudsha B'richu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tush B'chata B'nechamata Damiran V'alma V'yimeru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'chaim Alenu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimeru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'romav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yimeru Amen. May the one who makes peace in the heavens above make peace for us, for all of Israel and for all of humanity, and let us say, Amen. You may be seated. Just a few brief announcements before we conclude our service with Yigdal on page 26. I've been in my office all day. Were Monifa and Nick out there? Monifa's out there. On your way out, please do make sure to say thank you to everyone who's out there on security, braving the wet and the colds and just keeping us safe and secure this Shabbat. Also, where are Valerie and Peter? Oh, you guys aren't there. You're always there. It's very confusing. Thank you for welcoming everybody on their way in and helping create that sense of warmth that we know so much and love so much here at Belsize. And Alice and Mazal Tov, Yashikach. It's a nice, easy start to the weekend, and Natalie and Tim, Mazal Tov to you and the whole family. We'll continue the Simcha tomorrow morning with services at 10 a.m. And we'll call Alice to the Torah as a bat mitzvah the first time and hear her thoughts on this week's parsha as well. So please do join us for that. There is cheder on Sunday morning. There is also adult discussion group, but it's only on Zoom, and the login details and the information about the session are in the handout that hopefully you received on your way in. It also, Sundays is, never mind, doesn't matter. But next Shabbat, it's a regular Shabbat next week. However, Next Saturday after services, we're going to have a special guest speaker, Linda Koppelson, who is the female scribe, who has made our brand new Megillat Esther, our scroll of the Book of Esther, that we'll be reading from next Sunday night at Purim. This, I believe, is the first of its kind. It's the first scroll written by a woman for a community here in the UK. It's also the first scroll to have, I believe it's the first scroll in the UK that includes the vowels and trope, which you can have in a Megillah. You can't have in a Torah, but you can have in a Megillah. So it's a really special moment. So the Soferet will be speaking with us after services next Shabbat. And then next Saturday night, the 23rd, at 7 p.m., we'll read from this new Megillah. And then at 8 p.m., there will be a fun party, drinking and dancing and trying to try to find the joy in the world despite the challenges in doing so. And there will be fancy dress, very much encouraged. And then the next morning, Sunday the 24th, we'll have Purim at Cheder, which will be open not only to our Cheder students, but any families, anyone with children who, whether they are members of Belsize or not, whether they go to Cheder or not, they can come. We'll have a truncated Megillah reading and a fancy dress parade and some games and treats. It'll be a very, very nice morning. And we should be done around 12:30 anyways, next Sunday. So please do join us for that. And then a couple other things coming up. In April, we'll be starting up again the Lunch and Learns, which happen on the second Saturday of every month. The theme for this next cycle is Hidden Yidden. It's looking at the overlooked role of Jewishness in influencing Western culture. And so we'll be looking at different aspects of just culture in society and looking at how Judaism might have played a role in that, in shaping that. And then also on Tuesday, the 23rd of April, is that what it is? Tuesday? That's when we have, it's second Seder. So if you don't have a place for first night or for second night, come join us for second night Seder here at the synagogue. Ken Hall and I will lead, hopefully, an enjoyable and interactive Seder. And it definitely will be delicious. Food is always prepared by Claire Welford and her team. And then Ken Haller has another course starting up in May. I assume this is kind of aligned with the Omer and doing some learning during the Omer, the period of time from Passover to Shavuot. And we also have our annual Israel charity dinner coming up. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the near future and in the not so distant future. So if you definitely take a look at the handout, and if you don't receive our emails, go to synagogue.org.uk and sign up there to receive them. Other than that, I wish you all Shabbat Shalom. We'll conclude with Yigdal on page 26.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ואין אל מציאותו. אין לו למוד הגוף ואין הגוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו. הינו אדון עולם לכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו ומלכותו. לא קם בישראל כמו שעוד, נביא ומבית את אמונתו. לא יחליפה אל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולם הם לזולתו. איש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו. מתים יחיה ברוב חסדו, ברוך הדיית שם תהילתו.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.